20 other trustees. Now, this was during the year of 1730, which put you even further into debt. Because who can pay bills when they're behind bars, right? Well, Overthorpe, he wanted to give those colonists a chance to come to the colony. That South Carolina grows more peaches. But we believe we grow sweeter ones. I mean, Georgia is the peach state. Now, is there anyone from South Carolina on board? Do you agree? All right. All right, and then you get to stay in the truck. Now, as we're coming into our very next stop, which is Stop 2, this is a great stop if you're trying to access the city market area. Now, we do have two stops that you can access city market, which is Stop 2 and Stop 10. Stop 10 is right in the center of city market. Stop 2 is right here at the beginning of city market. Now, as we make our turn coming into Stop 2, this is also a really great stop for that First African Baptist Church as well. But please remain seated till the trolley comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. If we're going to be hopping out here and Stop 2, please check around you for any of your personal items that you may be leaving behind and use those handrails for your safety, guys. This is Stop 2. Stop 2. About the year of 1859, which also played a major role in the Underground Railroad, because if you was to take a tour through that church today, you will find that there are holes cut into the floorboards of the sanctuary that those slaves used for ventilation as they hid under the floorboard. Now, Broad Street always served as a major commercial area for our community, but that was up until the year of 1958 when Adam's department store caught fire. Now, when that department store caught fire, a lot of the surrounding businesses, they closed their doors and moved out for the south side of Savannah to try their luck with a new craze to the nation, the shopping malls. And our very first shopping mall here in Savannah was the Overthorpe Mall. Now, as we make this turn right here, coming up straight ahead of us is Telfair Square. Telfair Square is one of those very first of the 4 original squares that were laid out in Overthorpe City Plan. This square originally laid out during the year of 1733. It was named St. James Square, but it was then later renamed around the year of 1883 to honor Edward Telfair, who served as a delegate to the Continental Congress and the governor of Georgia. Now, coming up to the right of us, this was originally the Telfair family home, built during the year of 1819 for Alexander Telfair, which was the son of Edward Telfair. But upon Alexander's death, he left the home to his sister, Mary Telfair, who then deeded the home to the Georgia Historical Society, with the stipulation that it be used as an art museum. So around the year of 1886, that opened up as the very first art museum in the Southeast, known today as the Telfair Academy of Arts and Science. Now guys, I said Mary Telfair, she must be really like hamburgers, because she put 5 guys out front. Now straight ahead of us, this is the Jepson Center for the Arts. This is was an addition to the Telfair Academy. Now this building was built during the year of 2006. And this building actually has about 14,000 square feet of additional exhibit space and studio space for larger exhibits that cannot be held inside the Telfair Academy. But the building also has a 2-level hands-on art gallery inside for children and their families. It's called the Children's Art Museum, or CAM for short, where kids can go inside and create their very own masterpiece. Now, as we are approaching the corner here at the stop sign, if you guys take a look to your left, you'll see this really large building with the marble tile on it. This is the Tomachichi Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse. The original construction on this building began during the year of 1894 and was completed during the year of 1899. Now, if you take a look at the top part of that building, you're going to notice these circular discs that go all the way around the top part of that building. And this is every type of marble found throughout the state of Georgia. Now, as we're going to be Right Square, guys, is a square where I say everything is wrong. And I'm going to tell you guys why I say that. Take a look to your left as we're passing Right Square. You see that large boulder in the corner there, guys? That boulder is Tomachichi's memorial. Now, Tomachichi and Overthorpe, they were friends for a long 6 years. Tomachichi passed away during the year of 1739. Overthorpe gave him a military funeral, also served as one of his pallbearers. But Tomachichi was originally buried in the center underneath a pyramid stone. That was our very first monument here in Georgia. When the Gordon Monument took the center of that square, that pyramid of stone, it was removed. The Gordon family later purchased that large boulder and Chi-Chi is currently still in the center of Wright Square. He's just underneath the Gordon Monument. And that's why I said that is so wrong. Now, coming up in a moment, we're going to be coming into Oglethorpe Square. Oglethorpe Square is named after our founder, James Edward Oglethorpe. But as we approach, take a look to your left across the square. You'll see this yellowish, tannish colored home that has green shutters. It's called the Owens Thomas House. It was also built during the year of 1819. And this is also one of the very first homes here in Georgia to have indoor plumbing, which was about 6 years before the White House did. Now, the back portion of that home, guys, is where the slave quarters are located today. And those are actually some of the most intact slave quarters found throughout the United States today. Now, those slave quarters, they've also been converted into a museum, which showcase the names of the women and the children who live and work on the premises of that home, guys. Now, coming up in a moment, we're going to make a right turn here, and we're going to be headed to the corner at the traffic light. If you guys take a look to your left across the street, you're going to see the Colonial Park Cemetery, one of the oldest existing cemeteries here in Savannah. The very first burial took place around 1750, the last 1853. So this is also said to be where Buddy Gwinnett's final resting place lies, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Now, does anybody know why they put a gate around the cemetery? Because people were dying to get in there. I know, that's a corny one. Now, as we make our next turn right here, they would do this is back then our squares were numbered, so they would ring that bell to the corresponding square so that the firefighters would know exactly what square to go to. But that was not a smart fire plan, guys, because back then we had 24 squares. So let's say that you were in square 24 and your house was on fire. By the time they rung that bell 24 times and made it to you, your house was gone. Now, coming up is Stop 3. This is the birthplace of Juliet Gordon Lowe. She was born in this home on Halloween night, 1860, the founder of our Girl Scouts since March 12th of 1912. When she passed away around the year of 1927, the Girl Scouts purchased this home, turned it into their headquarters. But this also marks one of our very first historical landmarks right here in Savannah. And that's that big, beautiful building right here on the corner, guys. The Juliet Gordon Lowe birthplace. Anybody need Stop 3?
They sell cookies?
Yes, they do. Usually the Girl Scouts will be out here and they will still do the sales of the cookies. And this is also a museum. They're open on certain particular days. In a way, you see this stone memorial in the center of the median here. That honors those 42 Jewish refugee settlers who were led to the colony by Dr. Samuel Nunez. Now, originally, they all were denied entry into the colony. That was until Oglethorpe had a change of heart. So he decided to grant them land and also burial land. So once those Jewish settlers were here within the colony, they actually came up with their very own tradition. And that tradition was, instead of them leaving flowers on their loved one's memorial, which wilt and die, they leave stones because stones last forever. Now, coming up in a moment, guys, we're going to be crossing over right. If you take a look to your left, you'll see that church steeple right there, and that is to the Independent Presbyterian Church. Now, before I give you guys a hint what movie this actually featured in, does anybody know? Yes. It was at the beginning of the movie Forrest Gump, where the feather actually floated from the top of that steeple to the bottom of Forrest's feet. Now, that's all I have to say about that. Now, this is Orleans Square. Orleans Square is named after the Battle of New Orleans, which was the last battle of the War of 1812. Coming up in the center of the square there, that is the German Memorial Fountain. It was placed there during the year of 1989 to honor the 300 German families who were granted land here about 25 miles up the river, known today as Ebenezer. Now, if you guys take a look to your left across the square there, you'll see this large mansion coming up on the corner there. This is called the Hopper Folks Mansion. The Hopper Folks Mansion was built during the year of 1848, and it was originally built for Stephen Gardner. But by 1895, the home had changed owners about 5 times. That was right up until the year of 1939, when Alita Hopper Folks purchased that home at auction for $9,000. Now, she deeded the home to the Society of Cincinnati, who promotes the knowledge about the American Revolution, and they stipulated that the home is never to be sold again. Now, if you take why that is though. Because women are always right. That is not the real reason, guys. The real reason was back then a man was not supposed to see anything from a woman's ankles to up under her dress. Also, one of the reasons why women back then wore those long dresses so you couldn't see any of that. Now, as we are crossing over right here, guys, if you take a look to your left across the street there, you'll see this black iron fence. It's called the fence of presidents and poets. And that's because each medallion on the fence is the face of a famous president or poet. Now, when the old Better House was torn down, that fence it was recycled. Now, coming around to the right of us here, during the mid-1800s, iron was a sign of wealth. And the more iron you had around your home, the wealthier you were. Now, this is Chippewa Square. This is also where our Forrest Gump bench used to be located and part of the movie Forrest Gump was filmed. Now, this is the part where Tom Hanks sat on that bench in the square telling his life over a box of chocolate. Now, coming up to the right of us, I want you guys to take a look downward at this home. You see those drain pipes on the home that are shaped like a fist. Those are called dolphin downspouts. Those were said to bring your home good luck because they ward away evil energy away from your home. But I call them the ugly fish downspout because those things don't look anything like a dolphin at all. Now, if you take a look to your left in the center of the median there, the square there, you'll see that large 9-foot statue of James Everett Oglethorpe. Now, that statue was sculpted by Daniel Chester French and Henry Bacon, who are also the same two to sculpt the Lincoln statue at the Lincoln Memorial. Now, coming up to the right of us right here, guys, this is the Sixpence Club. It's an old English-style pub, and it also featured in a movie that was filmed here in Savannah. That featured in the movie Something to Talk About, starring Julia Roberts, as she peered through the window, watching her husband have dinner with another woman. Now, here in Savannah, guys, we actually call that eating and cheating. Now, Something to Talk About and Forrest Gump are merely a short list of movies that were filmed here in Savannah. We've had The Legends of Bagdad, the original Cape Fear, Conspirator, Gemini Man. We even had SpongeBob Out of Water. But the main movie that you guys are going to hear about today throughout the tour is Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Now, as we're crossing over right here, guys, we're going to be coming into Stop 4, which is a really great stop for the Surreal Beat House, the Green Meldrum, the Mercer Williams House, Temple Mikvah Israel, our beautiful Jones Street, and also this is where you can find Mrs. Wilkes' dining room, which is on the corner of Jones and Whitaker. Now, as we're crossing over right here, guys, coming up to the right of us, you guys will see a really large building with the gold and white on it right here. This is actually where our very first Ford dealership was located during the mid-1800s. Fourth President James Madison. In the center of the square, that is a statue of Sergeant William Jasper, who was a Revolutionary War hero and was mortally wounded during the siege of Savannah, which took place on October 9, 1779. Now, coming up to the right of us here, this is the Green Meldrum House. It was built during the year of 1853 for Charles Green, who was a wealthy cotton broker in the 1850s. Now, Charles Green, he offered his home to be used by General Sherman to use as his headquarters. Now, this is also the very same home that General Sherman wrote that famous telegram to Abraham Lincoln, where he gifted Savannah along with 150 guns, plenty of ammunition, and about 25,000 bales of cotton as a gift for Christmas. Now, as we make our way around the square here, if you guys take a look to your left, you'll see this really large red brick building coming up right there. This is one of the very first buildings that SCAD ever purchased and restored here in Savannah. SCAD. They started right here in this building around the year of 1979. They also still use the building today. But during the year of 1892, this was our very first Savannah Volunteer Guards Armory. And that was designed by William Preston, who also designed our cotton exchange. Now, as we approach Jones Street, guys, we're going to slow down just a little bit so you guys can take a look to your left and to your right and take in all the beauty that Jones Street has to offer. Jones Street, it was named after Major John Jones. It was also named in Southern Living magazine to be one of the most beautiful streets to take a stroll down. Now, our tourists, they love to walk along Jones Street taking beautiful pictures, but as locals, we like to think that is where that phrase, keeping up with the Joneses, came from. Now, straight ahead of us is Monterey Square. It's named after the American victory won in Monterey, Mexico between the wars of 1846 to 1848. In the center of the square there, that is a monument which honors Count Casimir Pulaski, who was a Polish nobleman who came to the colony to fight alongside of them, but was also mortally wounded during the siege of Savannah. Now, there are conflicting stories about what happened to his remains because some say that he's buried right there in the center of the square underneath that monument. Others say he passed away 2 days after the siege of Savannah aboard a ship. Now, coming up to the right of us here, guys, this is the Mercer Williams House, which was built during the year of 1860 for Confederate General Hugh Mercer, who is also the great-grandfather of Johnny Mercer, famous singer and songwriter. But the home here, it gained its notoriety from the late Jim Williams, which was a character in the movie Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Now, as we make our way around the square, if you guys take a look to your left, on the corner, on the other side of the square there, you'll see that large church building. This is Temple Mikvah, Israel, which is the only Gothic-style synagogue in the United States. Now, we're going to get a better look at that church as we make our way around the park here in just a moment, guys. But coming up to the right of us, this is the Armstrong Kessler Mansion, which was built during the year of 1917, originally built as Armstrong State College. This also made an appearance in the movie Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil as the law offices for Sonny Siler. Now, straight ahead of us is our beautiful Marine Memorial. This honors all of those Marines who fell during World War II, the Korean War, and also Vietnam. But straight past that, guys, is our beautiful Forsyth Park fountain. That fountain has always been a major centerpiece for our city here in Savannah. Now, people come far and long to take pictures, do weddings, birthday parties, and graduations right there in front of that beautiful fountain. Now, the fountain sits in the center of Forsyth Park, which was laid out during the year of 1851, named after John Forsyth, who was Secretary of State during Andrew Jackson's administration. Coming up to the left of us, this is where I'd like to introduce our trees here in town. Now, if you take a look, these two to the left of us is a really great example of what I want to talk about. Take a look along the branches of the trees. You see those fern leaves that grow all along the branches of our live oak trees? That stuff is actually called resurrection fern. And it's actually a really remarkable plant, guys. So the stuff grows on our trees. It doesn't hurt our tree in any way. It doesn't take or need any nutrients from that tree to grow. And it can also withstand a drought, meaning it can go months without being watered. That stuff will not die or fall off of the tree. Now, if you take a look at it today, you'll see it's a mixture of some green leaves and a little bit of brown, like it's starting to dry up. Now, the really cool thing about that is that it only takes about 6 to 8 hours for it to fully transform from brown, dried up state to being green like it is today. But after being green for about 72 hours, and there's no more rain, it actually starts to dry up and turn brown. But it will never die. So as soon as it rains again, that rain replenishes and turns it back green. Now, coming up in a moment, we're going to be coming into Stop 5 beautiful homes that are aligned all around the park here. You could also just explore the park itself, take pictures in front of that beautiful fountain, and so forth. Now, we are coming into Stop 5, guys. Stop 5. We are pulling away from Stop 5, guys. Coming up to the right of us, it's going to be a really large white building. And during the year of 1803, this was our very first Candler Hospital. Now, Candler Hospital moved further south side, and today SCAD owns this building, and they use it for classroom space. But what I want to show you guys is what's coming up behind the building. It's right here. It's called the Candler Live Oak Tree. That live oak tree, guys, she is 400 years old. She stands about 54 feet tall, and her branches, they spread to 110 feet wide. Now, that tree is actually cared for by the Savannah Tree Foundation, which makes sure that tree has all the nutrients it needs to continue growing properly. But the live oak tree, guys, is our shade tree. And we call them live oak because the tree, it never really dies. When a new leaf emerges along the live oak tree, it actually puts off those old brown leaves to keep the tree green all year long. Now, coming up to the left of us before we make our next turn right here, you get another look at that beautiful Temple Mikvah, Israel, that Gothic-style synagogue. You can also tour through that church as well, guys, and see the beautiful inside of that church. Now, coming up to the left of us as we make our turn is Wesley Monumental Methodist Church, which was dedicated to John and Charles Wesley during the year of 1890. They came to the colony around 1736, and they started the Methodist movement throughout the colony. Now, in a moment, we're going to make our way all the way around Taylor Square. Taylor Square is named after is the very first square to be named after a woman, and an African American woman at that, which was Susan Kate Taylor. Now I'm going to bring her back up in just a moment, because coming up to the right of us at stop 6, that really large pinkish looking building, this is where our very first public school was located, which was called the Massey School, and that was during the year of 1857. Now, during the year of 1977, it reopened as the Massey Heritage Center. This promotes the knowledge about Georgia's early history. It has a model of Open 6 plan inside. It has all the information about that 1800s classroom, the Tamachichis, the Civil War, and so much more, located right here inside of this museum. Now, this is Stop 6. Anybody need Stop 6? A nurse, a laundress, and also a cook, making her also the very first African-American woman to become a nurse. Then she wrote a memoir about her life. It was called The Reminiscences of My Life in Camp, working with the 33 colored U.S. troops. Also making her the very first African-American woman to become an author for writing that memoir. So she was a very inspiring, intelligent, and determined African-American woman. Now, as we're crossing over right here, guys, this is where I want to talk a little bit more about our trees. But this time I want you to look at the stuff that hangs from the tree. Now, it was also said that Henry Ford, he stuffed his Model Ts with this stuff. So I guess it's safe to say he started from scratch. Now, coming up in a moment, we're going to make a left here at the corner, guys, and we're going to be coming up the other side of Forsyth Park. And you guys will get another chance to see a lot of the things that I kind of already pointed out throughout the tour today. Like, you're going to get another look at those big old beautiful live oak trees, some more of that Spanish moss and resurrection fern. You'll also get another really great look at our beautiful Forsyth Park fountain. But also, this is going to bring us through our Victorian district, where you guys will also get a chance to see those big, beautiful Victorian style homes. Now, a lot of the Victorian style homes here in Savannah, they were built during the mid to late 1800s. So the homes have been maintained with maintenance to uphold the beauty of the buildings today, guys. But as we cross over this light coming up in a moment, if you take a look to your right, you'll see those big, beautiful homes coming up. Now, that is right about here. Look at those gorgeous homes. Now, this one coming up to the right of us is my favorite, guys. This is actually a luxury jewelry store part animal hospital. But I just love that building. It's so gorgeous. Excuse me. Now, if you guys take a look back to your left, you will see that beautiful fountain in the park and the way our trees are going to be all the way around the park here. Now, also, if you take a look to your left right here, you'll see this little white structure coming up in the park. That is called the Fragrance Garden. The Fragrance Garden, guys, is a really cool place to check out while you're here in town, if you're going to be exploring the park area. Because those flowers right now, they are fully fragrant, and they are in full bloom right now. Now, my favorite part about the Fragrance Garden is that every flower inside that garden, guys, has a braille plaque in front of it, which explains the details of that flower and also what type of flower it is. So, if you are seeing it paired, you also get to enjoy the garden just as well as anyone else. Now, as we're crossing over right here, guys, this is where I like to talk about our pineapples. Now, there's not any pineapple imagery in this area anymore, but pineapples during the mid-1800s, guys, they actually had a major significance, and they actually stood for wealth and hospitality. So when a lady would host a party back then, she would actually place 2 pineapples around the home. There was one outside the home as a welcome to the home, and one inside the home on the fireplace mantelpiece. Now, when it was time for her to end that party, she would just remove the pineapple off of the mantelpiece. Signal to her guests, it is time for y'all to go. approach the next corner coming up here, if you take a look straight ahead of us, you'll see another really large red brick building coming up. This is Carver State Bank. Carver State Bank was founded during the year of 1927 by Louis B. Toomer, who was an African-American entrepreneur, political, and also civic leader. Now, Carver State Bank, guys, is actually one of 20 African-American-owned banks in the United States. Now, coming up to the left of us here, you'll see Savannah on Wheels, which is a bike rental, guys. That bike rental, it is a really cool place where you can rent those bikes and, ride them around town. They even have one of their guides that will give you a bicycle tour throughout the city as well. Now, as we make our turn right here, guys, we're going to be coming into stop 7, which is a really great stop here in town. This is the Ralph Mark Gilbert Civil Rights Museum. So, Ralph Mark Gilbert, he was actually the 13th pastor of the First African Baptist Church from 1939 to 1956, also known as a major mogul in the civil rights movement because he was known as the modern father of civil rights and also the president of our NAACP. Now, under his leadership, this is how we began to hire our very first African American police officers. So this museum is about 3 floors of information and history, all about the civil rights movement, and also how we did play a major role in that movement. Now, coming up to the right of us here, guys, is Stop 7. Stop 7. Flag area, and that is where that railroad train museum and the kids museum is located. Now, as we're crossing over here, we're going to be coming into our stop 8. But if you guys take a look to your to your right over here, you'll see that we're right back across the street from stop 1 where we started at. And if you take a look at your receipts, you have a little $5 off coupon at the bottom of that receipt. Now that $5 coupon is $5 off of the cocktail classes, which they have inside the Old Savannah Distillery. That is also a restaurant, so you also get discounted appetizers. You choose to have lunch there. You also get a free tasting. You get to taste 3 different types of liquor, and if you like what you taste, you can go right next door to the Southern Spirits Emporium and purchase the entire bottle. Now, so far, guys, my favorite is the apple pie moonshine, but it's also the only one I've tasted so far, so that's probably why it's my favorite. Now, there are different types of flavored moonshine, whiskey, and also vodka inside. Now, coming up to the left of us, this is where Stop 8 is located, also our History Museum. That History Museum showcases over 290 years inside. So this is where you will find that Forrest Gump bench and also a restored locomotive engine. Because this building coming up straight ahead of us, this used to be our Central of Georgia Railroad. That was right up until the year of 1971 when the last train left the terminal here. Now, if you take a look to your right, you will see those 2 trains that were left behind, and those are basically used as office space for the History Museum. Now, as we make our turn right here, we're going to be coming into Stop 8, guys. Stop 8. Yeah, we're about to fill up, guys. Stop 9. Anybody need stop 9? No, stop 9. Now, we're going to be coming into stop 10, which is a stop here in town. This is actually in the heart of City Market. It's also where our 2 museums are located. downtown, guys, because to get inside the building. But that reservation is totally worth it because the food on the inside, it is real good. Now, during the year of 1771, guys, this was known as Haversham House because it was built for James Haversham Jr. and his wife. Now, if you take that sidewalk right here to the, left of you guys, right here up to the corner, you will get to load their cargo. They would discard this valid stone on the sides of the bay. So the early settlers, they decided to use this stuff to pave the roads and even secure the walls up above with it. Now, guys, my only question is, why did they use the smoother ones for the walls and the bumpiest ones for the roads? Now, as we make our way to the bottom of the ramp here, guys, I want you guys to take another really great look to your left. You guys are going to get another really great view of the Eugene-Talmadge Bridge. Now, the Eugene-Talmadge Bridge is what separates Savannah from South Carolina. So, this bridge is named after Eugene Talmadge, who was a Democratic governor of Georgia. He ran for 2 consecutive terms, and he was elected to run a 3rd term, but passed away right before he could take office for that 3rd term during the year of 1946. Now, as we are making our turn into Stop 12, this down here at that Simply Savannah is also another one of those gift shops that will redeem that water coupon as well, guys. This is Stop 12.
This is the Old Harbor Inn, the first Tidewater Oil Company, but this t-shirt shop at the bottom, y'all, if you guys were looking for the Savannah Bananas baseball team merchandise, they sell it right there at their t-shirt shop under Old Harbor Inn. Now on the left-hand side of us, y'all, This is our waving girl statue, Miss Florence Morris, and as I stated earlier, I'm going to talk about her as we get further up the ramp because her story is longer than the Olympic Flame Monument. Pulling in the stop number 14, please remain seated while the trolley is in motion or until I come to a complete stop and the doors of the trolley are fully open. Also, as you guys exit, check your area, gather your personal item, use those handrails, and watch out for that last step. Brigadier General during the American Revolutionary War. This fort was built in 1762 to help defend Savannah from that war. In 1861, during the Civil War, it became a barracks and it remained a barracks until General Sherman took over the city in 1864. Now right here on the left-hand side of us again, this is the oldest existing building in our city. The keeper of the trustees' garden stayed in this small building. And the trustees' garden was a part of Oglethorpe's original city plan, and it was laid when the colony first started in 1733. Now the crops on the garden did grow, they also did thrive, but after we had our first frost in 1755, they abandoned the trustees' garden shortly after. On the left-hand side of us again right now, y'all, this is the Bryce Hotel. The Bryce Hotel was a cotton warehouse in the 1700s. Once that was destroyed by fire, it became the first Coca-Cola bottling factory. Once that was destroyed by fire, they rebuilt it to the Bryce Hotel.
Okay, good.
On the right-hand side of us, this is Emmett Park. Now, Emmett Park is where they held this Florence Smartest, the waving girl's funeral. 3,500 soldiers came to fill this park, and they paid their respects to this Florence Smartest that day. On the right-hand side of us again, Vietnam Memorial, dedicated to the men and women who lost their lives in the Vietnam War. If you guys get close to that monument, it is shaped exactly like Vietnam. On the right-hand side of us again, this is the Celtic Cross, placed here to honor the early Irish settlers who arrived at the colony in 1733 from Mr. James and Oglethorpe. 9 of the first colonists to come to America were Irish. They also played a major role for the state of Georgia by building a lot of different roadways in the canal. And the Irish was also building to one cheaper than Indiana and Savannah College. Now as we come into Warren Square, y'all, Warren Square sits in the oldest district of Savannah, and this is the Colonial District. Now the Colonial District was placed here when the colony first started in 1733, and we're also entering Warren Square. Now Warren Square was named after General Joseph Warren. He died here during the Battle of Bunker Hill. That battle took place in Boston, Massachusetts, June 1755. Now that we're into the Colonial District, you can all see that the houses in this district were made somewhat of wood or strictly of wood, and that reminds me of the Great Fire that took place in 1796. Now that fire was the worst fire in Savannah of them all because when the houses were made of wood, it wouldn't rain in Savannah for 6 months at a time. So when the summer came back around and we still did not receive any rain, the wooden houses became very dry and brittle, and they caught fire from that heat. Now, that is the fire that destroyed over 302 buildings in the city and 90% of Savannah's historic district. We are now coming into Savannah's wealthiest iron master. He also said if you could make anything on your house out of wood, he could have came back and made anything on his out of iron. So the stairs on this home, the banisters, the pillars, the posts, the window sills, and both of those balconies on the outside are all made of real cast iron in 1893. Now that iron fencing around the homes, y'all, depending on how it was decorated, it will let you know the status of the person that stayed in that home. And if you saw this iron fencing like to the left of us with the vines, the leaves, and the flowers, those represented love, peace, and prosperity on that particular home. Okay. Now right here on the right-hand side of us, this is the Webb Military History Museum, opened by Mr. Gary Webb in 2015. If you guys go on the inside, Mr. Gary Webb has a lot of information, articles, weapons, uniforms, about anything that took place before the U.S. all the way to after we became the U.S. We are now riding down York Street, named after the Duke of York. This is the first street laid in our city in 1733, and it is a part of the Colonial District as well. To the left and the right of us, these are all older Colonial District houses. And all of these houses carry a brass plaque on the outside that lets you know either who the homes are built for and also the years the homes were built here in the city. To the right of us, this one was completed in 1853, but notice that it has a red door. Any house here in our city that carried a red door during the Victorian era, that would let us see that is called Savannah Gray brick. That Savannah Gray brick is on a lot of our older historical houses here in the city. But that Savannah Gray brick was made by the hands of the slaves who owned the Hermitage Plantation. Those slaves were ordered to make 100,000 bricks by the end of the day, and they produced over 60 million of those Savannah Gray bricks on Savannah's brickyard. Now, if you guys see that brick anywhere today before you leave, because you will see it again, a lot of our older historical houses are made from that Savannah Gray brick, and that Savannah Gray brick would become so popular back in the 1800s that colonists started to tear down their carriage houses and sell it to other colonists for £10 per brick. But if you guys see that Savannah gray brick anywhere here in the city, if you get close to it, you will find a fingerprint or two from the slaves who handmade that brick from the Hermitage Plantation. Now the Hermitage Plantation was located on Skidaway Island. That's about 3 miles east outside of the historic district. And the Skidaway Island was where the Wormsville Plantation is located as well. They also give tours out there if that's something that you guys want to do. Now as we make this left-hand turn to the right of us, this big brick building that you guys see, this is our old Savannah Police Barracks. Now this police barracks was erected in 1869.